Hi everyone, welcome to Salesforce Reports and Dashboard tutorials. So starting from this video, we'll understand each and everything about Salesforce Reports and Dashboards. So in this particular session, it is just the introduction part. So we'll see what are reports and dashboards in Salesforce and what is the purpose of creating reports and dashboards, what's the difference between them, and what are the benefits of having reports and dashboard. All right, so let's just get started with the introduction. So the first thing that we need to understand is what is a report. I believe that you would already have an idea what a report is, but let me just reiterate it for you. So any report, right? So you would have seen data in a spreadsheet, right? Let's say if you want to collect some data, or if you want to do some kind of data analysis, then how do you get started? You create an Excel sheet, right? And you keep all the data inside an Excel sheet. So similarly in Salesforce, rather than creating Excel sheets, rather than manually putting the data, you can use a reports feature of Salesforce, and you just need to select the objects. You need to just select the fields that you actually want to include in the reports, and that's it. Salesforce reports will actually analyze the data that is there in your org, and it will create a report for you based on the criteria that you have defined. All right, by criteria I mean, if there are any criteria for your report, any kind of filters for your report, so based on your conditions it will analyze the data in the system and it will create a report for you. Okay, so basically report is nothing but list of records, and every report will have rows and columns. All right, and in those rows and columns you can display whatever columns you want. You can choose, right? So for example, let's say if you're creating a report on account, and let's say if there are 50 fields on the account, that does not mean that every time your report will show 50 fields, okay, on the report that you would have created. You can choose what you need to display, what you want to display. All right, so that is nothing but what columns you would want to display. And then there are filters. So for example, let's say if there are two types of accounts in your org, right? Prospect accounts and client accounts. And let's say if you want to create a report, but in that report you only want to include the prospect accounts, you don't want to include the data related to client accounts, right? So this is nothing but a filter, right? Account type filter. So this kind of filter also you can apply onto the reports. All right, so, and then reports allow users to view their data in meaningful ways and can be used for a wide range of purpose, from simply listing out the records to detailed analysis of sales trends and all these things, right? So it's a very simple thing, right? Let's say if you go to a meeting, and in that meeting someone is asking you that what is the sales report, or what is the revenue, or what is the updates related to data for the last month, previous month, then you don't need to manually go into your org and check each and everything, right? Or you also don't need to prepare an Excel sheet and manually enter the data into Excel sheet, right? If you just have a report and if you have a filter for 1 month, right, the previous month, then it will pull out all the data for you, right? So those kind of data analysis and representation of data can be done using Salesforce reports. All right, so now let's see how many types of reports are there in Salesforce. Okay, so there are mainly four types of reports that you can create in Salesforce. The first one is the simplest form of report, right? So let's say if you have an Excel sheet and I ask you that, if there are, let's say there are 50 accounts in your Salesforce org, or just imagine there are 500 or even 50,000 accounts in your Salesforce org. And I ask you that, can you create a report for me? And that report should have all the existing accounts, whatever you have in the system, right? So how will you put that data into Excel sheet? Right. So first of all, the first requirement would be to include all the accounts, right? So if there are 50,000 accounts, then your Excel sheet should contain all the 50,000 accounts, right? And then the second step would be that what and all fields or columns are to be included in that report. What kind of information is required, right? Let's say if the requirement, whoever is asking you to create that report, right? If they say that I want account name, account revenue, website, email, phone, such kind of information. So you would be including those information as well in your spreadsheet, right? So similarly, the first type of report, right? Tabular report is exactly like that, right? It is a very simple list without any kind of groupings. They are exactly similar to a spreadsheet, okay? But the only thing is that you are not manually entering the data, right? You are creating a normal tabular report in Salesforce, and you just need to select the object on which you want to create the report, and Salesforce will generate a report for you, okay? The second one is the summary report. So in the summary report, there is something called groupings. So one more thing, if you're not understanding it, don't worry about it. So in this session, once I'm like, I'm done explaining all these four types reports, I'll navigate to the org and I'll show you that how you can navigate to reports, how you can start creating a report, okay? And once in the upcoming sessions, we are going to understand each and every report type in detail, and I'll also demonstrate it for you. So don't worry about it, okay? So the second one is summary report, right? So in this kind of report, you can basically summarize your report based on based on any information that you want. So I'm giving you an example, okay? So let's say if there are, for example, let's say if there are 50 accounts in your org, okay? And just imagine that on account you have created a field called as rating, okay? So those 50 accounts will have can have any different rating, right? So let's say rating is nothing but a pick list value, and you have something such as high, low, and medium rating, okay? So every 50 account, if you open a random account, and we are also assuming that on every account you have filled this information of rating, okay? So let's say if you open an account and the rating is marked as low, then you open another account, the rating is marked as high. Then you open another account, the rating is marked as medium. Then you open another account, and there again the rating is marked as high. So by this, I mean that out of your 50 accounts, maybe there are 10 accounts where the rating is marked as high. And for another 20, the rating is marked as low. Then for another 20 accounts, the rating is marked as high, right? So let's say that in your report, you want to group the data based on the rating, okay? So how will you do it, right? So that once anyone sees your report, just by looking at the report, they should be able to understand that, oh, there are 20 accounts where the rating is high, there are 15 accounts or 10 accounts where the rating is low, okay? So just by looking at the data, they don't have to go through each and every row of the report, okay? Just by looking at the report, they should be able to see the summary based on which row you have summarized, based on which row you have done the grouping, okay? So that is nothing but a summary report. Then we have something called a matrix report, okay? A more complex report where you group records by both rows and columns, okay? Now, in this case, just imagine a scenario where um, let's just take the same example, okay? So just keep in mind these 2 points, okay? So on account, you have two kind of information available, right? Additional. One is the account type, the another one is the rating that we just talked about, okay? So again, let's just take the example of those 50 accounts. So as I said, right, just imagine that out of those 50 accounts, 20 has the high rating, 20 has the low rating, and 10 has the medium rating, okay? Now there is one more information that we are talking about here, right? Account type. So let's say out of those 50 accounts, 20 accounts are prospect accounts and 30 accounts are client accounts, okay? So that means 20 accounts have the account type populated as prospect, and another 30 account has the account type populated as client, okay? Now in matrix report, let's say if your requirement says that I want to create such a matrix where I want to see the rating of the accounts in a summarized manner based on the account type. Okay. So basically, your report should look like something like this: account type, right? So type like that means prospect, client, and then rating. Okay. So just imagine like this: on your y axis, you have three kind of ratings listed, okay? High, medium, low. But then on the right side, you have another information available for account type, okay, prospect and client. So in that matrix, if someone will see, then what they will understand for high, and then for, let me go to a notepad and show you. Okay, so let's say this is the kind of matrix I'm talking about. Okay, so let's say this is high, medium, and then low. All right, and then here prospect, and then client. Okay, and here let's say I am defining it as 2, then here let's say 10. Okay, here let's say 5, here let's just imagine 15. I think you got the idea, right? This is the matrix I'm talking about. So let me just explain you this really quickly. So if you, and just imagine there are like, lines over here, right? These are separated. So now just by seeing this matrix, what anybody can understand, they can understand that there are 2 accounts with account type as prospect and rating as high. Okay, so this is a matrix that you wanted to create. And then by looking at this number, anybody will understand that, okay, there are 10 accounts with account type as client and rating as high. So there are 10 client accounts where the rating is high. And similar thing goes for these data as well. 5 prospect account with rating as medium, 10 client account with rating as medium. Okay. So this kind of matrix when you want to create is when you will actually use the matrix reports. Basically, when you're implementing this, you would have to, I mean, I'll show you how you can do the grouping. Okay, for now just understand the concept of like, what is the difference. And in the summary report, right, in the summary report, what we were doing, we were not grouping based on the type, we were only grouping based on one information, right, that was rating. So just by looking at the report, anybody should be able to understand that, okay, there are 2 accounts with a rating as high, 5 accounts with a rating as medium, and 2 accounts with a rating as low. We were not considering the account type factor over there. Okay, so that was a simple summary report. But in the matrix report, you also started considering another information, right? So that was a matrix report. And then we have something called joint reports. Okay, so joint reports is like, let's say if you have two very different reports, and if you want to create a joint report, right, you want to display information of 2 reports into one. So you can basically like, create something called as report blocks, and you can create a joint report. So I'm not going very like, detail into this one right now, but we'll like, understand this in the upcoming session. So don't worry about it now. For now, only try to understand that why do we create reports and how many type of reports are there. All right. So before I actually tell you about report customization, let's just go to the org, and I want to show you how you can navigate to reports and how you can actually, I'll show you how normal Salesforce report looks like. Okay. So all right, so I am in my org now. So there are 2 ways how you can navigate to the reports. Okay, the first way is that if your report tab is included in your app. Okay, so this is my Lightning app that I've created for admin training, but I have not included the report tab here, right? So that is why I'm not the way I'm seeing account, contacts, opportunities, and employees. So these are the tabs that I've created, right? But I have not created any for reports, right? I have not included the tab for reports under this particular app. But that does not mean that I cannot navigate to reports. Okay, you just need to click on app launcher and search for report. So reports, click on it. So this is where your all reports you can find. Okay, all the existing reports. So if you see on the left side, these are the options that you have available. Okay, recent will show that if you have recently opened any report, and like, then it will list you all the reports, like the recent open reports. Then created by me will only show you the ones that you have created. Okay, so for now I am logged in with my user, and this report was created by me. Okay, that is why it is showing me this one under created reports. And then there's something called private report and public reports. So this depends on the visibility of your report. So whenever you are creating a report, right, you will always create and keep a report under some kind of folder. Okay, so that folder either can be a private folder or it can be a public folder. Okay, so based on that visibility, private and public, your report will fall under these two categories. Okay, again, don't worry about it, we'll see it when we are creating the report. For now, just keep in mind that if your folder is public, then your report will be public, otherwise it's going to be private. Okay, if you're only keeping it to yourself, if you're not keeping it into a public folder. Okay, so and then here we have something called all reports. So it will show all the existing reports in the org. Right now there are only two reports here. This one was created like out of the box it came, and this one I created. All right, and then here we have folders, all folders created by me, shared with me. All right, so don't worry about it much. Okay, so let's just go ahead, and I'm not going to show you how to create a report because creating a report also requires the understanding of report type, but that we will see in the upcoming sessions, right? For example, if I click on new report, then you cannot directly click create a report. You need to select a report type. So I'll explain you this. Okay, so don't worry about it. So right now I'm only going to show you the report that I've already created. Okay, so this is a report and I've created a report on account. Okay, and you can see these are the information that I have included: account owner, account name, billing state, type, rating, and last modified date. Okay, so there are two things that I want to tell you right now itself, right? So let's say if I want to apply a filter on this report. Okay, so there are two options to do so. Okay, so let's say if you want to just apply a temporary filter, you don't want to apply some filter and make that filter available for everybody, right? You want to do a filter and you just want to see some kind of data based on your filter. So from here itself you can do this. Okay, edit filter, and here I can change the filter. For example, it's my accounts and all accounts. Any account in the org where I have the access, it will be displayed. Okay, all right, here. So there is one option to change the filter from here itself, but the moment I refresh the report, right, this filter will go away. Let me show you. All right, so let's just click on it again. Look at this, it got changed, right? I had changed it to all accounts, but it flipped back to my accounts, because if you're applying the filter from here, then it will not be saved. Okay, if you want to make any changes to the report, you need to click on edit. So I clicked on edit. Now there are three things that I want to explain here. So this, what you're seeing here, is the report. These are called columns. These are nothing but the fields on account, and every row, every data that you're seeing is nothing but a row 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so these are the account information available over here. All right, and then if you want to include or exclude any columns, then you can do it from this tab. Okay, outline tab, and here you will see something such as column. So if you remember the field name, you can simply search the field name from here. Otherwise, you can click on this arrow and you will be able to see all the available fields. All right, so either you can do that or you can simply search the field name here. So for example, let me first remove this column. Okay, I don't want to display this column, so you can simply click on the cross and refresh, and the account owner should be gone. It's gone, right? And let me also remove the last modified by date. I removed it, refresh, and it should go away. Okay, so these are the only information that I have right now. But let me also, let's say I also want to include some other information, right? Let's say annual revenue. So now it included this column as well, and these can be dragged and dropped. Okay, so you can order it the way you want. Okay, you can sequence it. So let's say if I want to show the annual revenue after the billing state. Okay, so it will shift after the billing state. All right, so two things, right? This is where you add any additional column. To remove it, just click on cross and you can remove it. Okay, and also you can rearrange the sequence of the fields that it is displaying. Okay, so this was all about the fields. Now let's just go ahead and see what are the filter that I can apply. So there are two standard filters that you will always see. Okay, show me what accounts do you actually want to display on the report, and then created date. So, right. So here, let me change it back, change it to all accounts. Okay. And created date, I don't want to keep a specific date. Okay. I just want to keep it as all time. That means it doesn't matter to me when the account was created. I want to display that into this report. Okay. And I'll click on apply. And let me refresh this. All right. Now let's say if I want to apply any additional filters apart from these two standard filters. Okay. Let's just say this one. Okay. Account type. And I only want to display customer direct accounts. Okay. So the moment I put a filter for customer direct account, then anything which is customer channel or prospect should not be displayed into the report. Okay. I only want to display customer direct accounts. Okay. So here I need to search for type. So I clicked on type, and then which one do I want to display? Equals to customer direct. Okay. And then click on apply. And let's just refresh this. Here you can see, right? Any account that where the customer type is, sorry, account type is customer direct, only those are getting displayed. So this is how you can put a filter. Okay. And let's say if I want to apply another filter for rating. Okay. I want to see the account type where the account type is customer direct and the rating is warm. Okay. So let me put another filter as rating equals to, you can also choose any of these as per your requirement. Okay. So I am choosing equals to warm and apply. Okay. Let's just refresh this. So now you can see it is only showing me the accounts where the type is equals to customer direct and the rating is equals to warm. Okay. Now let's just say that I want to show so what I want to say is that this filter that you're seeing, right, there's also something called logic. Okay, where you can customize the filter. Okay, so for example, this one, add filter. So right now 1 and 2, so 1 and 2 is not your these two standard filters. Okay, the custom filters that you have put is, this is what it is considering it as 1 and 2. So currently it is actually you know it is actually seeing that if the account type is customer direct and if the rating is warm, then only display the record. Okay, where this two combination is true. But let's say if I want to make it or, then I can do it from here, apply and refresh. So now you can see, right? Because just because I have put an or condition, what does it mean? Or means if the account type is customer direct, then show the record. Or if the rating is warm, then also show the record. Okay. So for example, let's say in this one, there was no rating, but the customer direct was the type of the account, right? So it was matching, because in or, if one is true, then also it will display, or if two is true, then also it will display. Okay. And if I take the example of the second row, right? So account type is customer direct, but the rating is hot, but it is still showing me this record. Why? Because I have put an or condition and my first condition is true. The type is customer direct, right? So that is why it is displaying me. The moment I make it to and, then it will check both the conditions. All right. So this is how you can apply filters, right? And if you have multiple filters, and if you have, like, any kind of additional criteria based on your and or kind of conditions, right? So you can apply the custom filter logic like, just by clicking here, and you can also remove it, right? If you remove it, if you do not keep any custom filter logic, then it is going to take it as, consider it as and. Okay, so no matter if you have 5 filters, it will take everything as and, right? It will take the combination. All right, so let's remove it for now. Okay, I just want to keep everything under and condition, which is okay. Let's just remove it and just keep only one filter. All right. Okay. Now let's go back here. So once you have all your settings done, right? Once you have decided what columns to display, what columns not to display, what should be the sequence, what should be the filter. Once everything is done, what is the next step? The next step is to run the report and check that how it is displaying the data in the final output, right? In order to do that, you can either first save it and then run it, or you can just save and run. And once you do save and so it did not ask me to name the report, right? Because this report was already created. If let's say if it was a new report, then it should have asked me give a name to the report. But as I had already created it, it did not ask me. All right, so here you can see there are total 8 records. It is also showing me the summation of the total annual revenue. All right, and this is what is coming based on the filters that we have applied. Okay, these are the filters. So it is only giving me the data for account type is equals to customer direct. Okay, and let's say so I have given the name as sample account report, right? Let's say if I want to change the name of this report, then how will I do it? I'll click on edit, and then beside save there is an arrow. Okay, and then here there's something called as save as. If you'll do save as, then it is going to create another report. Okay, it is going to clone this one. But if you click on properties, then you can change the name of the report. Okay, I've given the name as sample account report, so you can change the name. You can also change the API name if you want. Okay, and here is the folder. So here you can select that where you want to keep your reports, either into the public reports folder, or there could be multiple other folders. So you can choose the location where you want to save your report. All right. So let's go back to the slide. Okay. So these were types of report customization. So this is what we saw, right? Adding filters, how to add filters, selecting which fields to display, right? If you want to add additional fields, just search in the column and add it. And if you want to eliminate it, you can eliminate it. And then you can also order the sequence, right? Drag and drop the fields in which order it should display. Then there's something called adding formula fields. This one will take some time, so I'll show you in the upcoming sessions that how you can create formula fields in your reports. All right, so don't worry about it right now. Then dynamic reports. So what does it mean is that, let's say here, okay, let's say I have, let me just click on 7 okay. So currently it is showing me 8 records, right? Now let's say if I go here, okay, and if I create another account which is satisfying the condition that I have in this report. What is the condition that I have in this report? There is just one condition that I've added, right? Account type is equals to customer direct. So I want to show you that what does the word dynamic mean here, okay? So I'm going ahead and creating another account. Let's say Citibank. Rating, we can keep anything. And then type, we are going to keep it as customer direct. This is the condition in our report, correct? This is the filter I've applied. So I'm creating one more account where the type is customer direct. And here, see, the count is 8 right now, okay? And I don't want to fill anything else. Let me just save this here and let me refresh this, okay? So refresh option should be here. It's here. Now you can see it is showing 9, correct? So you didn't have to do any change in the report, right? It's just this is dynamic, right? No matter how many records are getting created, the moment you'll navigate to your report is going to show you the latest data, right? The data it displays, it shows you, right? It is going to be as per the latest data in the system. All right. So that is what I meant by dynamic report. All right. Then scheduling and emailing reports. Okay, so once you have created your reports, so you can actually schedule the report and email the reports. Okay, for doing this there is something called subscribe on the reports. Okay, so let's say if I go to a report, and once you are on the report there's an arrow beside edit. Okay, if you click on this, you get an option called subscribe. Okay, and if you click on this you can see, right, that how do you want to receive the emails on this report. Okay, do you want to configure it for daily, weekly, or monthly basis? Okay, and you can also choose the days. Okay, that if let's say if I'm choosing it as weekly, then on which day of the week I want to send out the report as an email. Okay, you can also decide the time, and if there is any additional attachment, that also you can do here. And then here there's something called recipients. So basically you need to decide who you want to send the report to. So basically you're scheduling it, and you're also deciding who you want to send this report to. Okay, so this is where you can click on edit recipients, and you can search the user, and then you can add that user to the subscription list. Okay, so whoever you add in the subscription list, those are the people who are going to receive this report based on the timing that you have decided. All right, so that's one thing. And then there is something called run report as. Okay, so there are two options, me and another person. Okay, so let's just go to the security part of the report, and then so let me come back to it. Okay, let me just first cover the dashboards so that I can cover the security part of reports and dashboard all together. Okay, so the next topic is dashboards in Salesforce. Okay, so any report that you're seeing every report in a tabular format, right? In a like more like a spreadsheet, right? Although it is more efficient, right? That you don't have to manually enter the data. There are filters that you can set, all of that you can do, right? But it is not giving you a pictorial representation, right? So the moment you decide to create a chart, maybe it could be a pie chart, could be a donut chart, right? Or could be a bar chart, any kind of pictorial representation of your report, if you want to do, that is nothing but called a dashboard. Okay, and also in a dashboard you can combine different multiple reports, and everything you can keep it on a single page. Okay, so for example, in this one you can see this is my one single dashboard, and in this single dashboards, how many components do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and one more thing, these where is this dashboard getting the data from? It is getting the data from report, right? So basically every component that you're seeing is nothing but a report. The only difference is that you have converted that report into a chart. Okay, otherwise where will it get data from, right? You need to create a report, and then you can create a chart on top of that report. Okay, so that it can display the data in the pictorial representation, in a graph, or like whatever you decide it to be. Okay, so that's what a dashboard is. Okay, and the next thing is, these are the additional things that I wanted to discuss. So the first one is export and print. Okay, so let's just go one by one. Security part, I'll come to it. I right, the option that I was just showing you. Let's just start with this one, export and print. So once you run your report, okay, there is an option to export the report as well. You can click on here and this option export, and you will get two options here, right? What do you want to export in the report? And here you can also, okay, it should come I think in this one, but let's just keep it on the formatted report. So once you click on export, it will export the report into Excel format. Okay, so because you have this feature, you don't have to worry about, oh, all my reports are in Salesforce. What if I want to, sorry for this. What if I want to extract this report and present it somewhere in front of client, this and that, any kind of data analysis meetups that you're having, right? So any report that you have in your Salesforce, because your data reside in Salesforce, right? So you will also keep the reports in the Salesforce. But let's say if you have to present it somewhere, or do any kind of any additional activity on the reports, then you don't have to just rely on the org, right? You can just download it and keep the Excel format ready in order to analyze the data. All right, so that was about export. Now report folders. Okay, so reports are saved in folders which control who has access to view, edit, and manage the reports. Okay, so let me give you a very clean example for this. Okay, so let's just go to reports. I want to click on this one. Okay, all folders. So let's say I create a report. Okay, here. So if you see, what is the location of this report? This is a report that I have created, but I have kept it under this folder. Okay, public reports. So first point is that you cannot create a report without keeping it under any folder. Whenever you're creating a report, you have to keep it into some folder. Okay, let it be private, public, whatever it is, right? Or any additional folders that have been created, you always have to keep a report inside a folder. Okay, so currently I have kept this report inside this folder. Okay, now let's say I create, let me just do this. Okay, let me edit this report and properties. I'm changing the folder. Okay, folder, let me keep it into this one, Einstein bot reports, this folder. Select folder and save. Now let me go back to the reports. So now you can see the report that I've created, I have kept it under this folder. So what do we mean by this, right? That, like, the folder decides the access. Okay, it simply means that, let's say I have another member in my team, and now I have created this report, and that user is asking me that, hey, have you created that report? Which report it is? Can I go and have a look? And I'll just tell this report name to that user, and I'll tell that you can go into the org, you can search for this report and you will get it. But then that user starts telling me that, you know what, that report is not visible to me. Then what could be the reason? There could be two reasons. Okay, the first one is, let's just only talk about the main reason. Okay, the main reason is that this particular folder, that particular user does not have access to this folder. Okay, so just because that user does not have access to this folder, he also does not get to access anything inside the folder. And the report reside inside the folder, right? And it is not shared with that user. So that means if anybody wants to edit or manage a report, okay, then that means that person needs to have access to the folder under which that report is kept. Okay, it's a very simple logic, I believe, and I hope that you would have understood. Okay, so this is the folder. Okay, this is the folder, and here you can see an option of share. So what will I do? I will go to the folder. Here I will search for that user, right, who I asked that you can go ahead and check, and that user does not have access. I will search for that user and I will give access based on whatever access I want to give, because I would not want that anybody to just go and edit my reports, like, because I might have multiple reports and there might be something that I don't want to just keep on changing, right? So I will decide that what level of access I'm giving to other users. Okay, so either you can give view, edit, and manage. Basically they will have all the access to the reports. Okay, edit, view, delete, everything. Or, like, even assigning other people to the, like, report access, that also they can have if you give the manage access. So this is where you can share the access for the folder. Okay, let's go back here. So that was about security. Now this one, okay, run as feature on reports. Let me show you something. Okay, so this is the report, and now I am going to click on subscribe, and here. So what does it mean? Like, run report as me and another person. Okay, so first of all, just think about it. Okay, an org can have millions of data. Okay, and let's just only talk about accounts. Any Salesforce org can have, let's say, like, 5 million or 15 million accounts as well. Okay, now all the user in the org, let's say if I have kept this report in the public folder. Okay, which is totally fine, it's on accounts, right? Maybe everybody needs a similar report on accounts, right? Then why will I create 100 reports for 100 people, right? I will create one simple report, because this report has basic information about account, right? Account name, account type, account rating. And let's say a lot of people, right, multiple users, 50 users want the same report. So that does not mean that I will create 50 reports, right? I will just create one report. But just think about it, that does it mean that everybody is seeing all the data? It's not correct, right? People should be only seeing the data on which they have access to. Correct? I should only be seeing the accounts where I have the access to the accounts, right? Either the account that is owned by me, or the accounts where I've been added on the account team member, or if there's an account which is manually shared with me. So in short, any account that I have access to, I should be only seeing those accounts in the report. Okay. So for example, so all these accounts that I'm seeing, right? 9 accounts based on the filter, or maybe or not on the filter. Even if I let me remove the filter. Okay. So all these 17 accounts. So you know what? There might be another 100 accounts in the system, and I'm sure there are more than 17 accounts. But why am I only seeing 17 accounts? Because these are the only accounts where I have access. All other accounts, I do not even have read access. And that is the reason that it is not showing up in my report, which is totally correct. Because otherwise, just imagine people would not have access to accounts, but they will be like, they can just go ahead and create a report just to see other people's account, right? That should not happen. So that is the first option that you see as run the report as me. Now you might be thinking, then what does this mean then? Another person. Let's say if there is another person as, for example, integration user. Okay, it's not a real name, but let's say integration user. And if I save and then run this report as integration user, so does it mean that whatever accounts integration user has access to, will I be able to see the same accounts? That is not correct. It is only going to show me the subset. Okay. So let's say I have access to 10 accounts and integration user has access to 20 accounts. Okay. But now I am running the report as integration user. So does it mean that I should be able to see 20 accounts and not just 10 accounts? No, that is wrong. It is only going to show me the common accounts. Okay. The 10 accounts that I have access to and the 10 accounts that integration user has access to. Okay, then what is the use of it? The use of it is like, it is generally for like, administrators, right? Where they want to, let's say if there's a team, for example, let's say if there's a team, okay, and that team wants to run the report as any of the team members, or let's say as a manager, like let's say if there's a PA for somebody, right? And they want to run the report as the manager. So it is only for those purposes, but still they will not be seeing the data which they should not be, okay? They can only see what is common between them and another user if they are selecting this option. I hope you got the idea. Do not get very confused. Just keep one key point in your mind, that whenever you are running a report as another person, that does not give you additional access to see the data. Okay, you will still be seeing the data that you have access to, only the common data. The only catch here is that if you are seeing the 10 accounts, right, in the same example that I said, right, that I had access to 10 accounts, and let's say integration user have access to 20 accounts. And if I run the report as integration user, and if it shows me, let's say 5 accounts, let's say in the report it only gave me 5 accounts, so I will be sure about one thing, that the integration user also has access to 5 accounts, same accounts that I have access to. This user might have access to another 50, 100 or 500 accounts. But one thing I became sure about, that, okay, if it is showing me 5 accounts when I ran the report as another user, that means the 5 accounts that I have access to, this person also has access to those 5 accounts. That is the only purpose it is serving. Okay. So that means it is not doing any kind of security breach. Okay. So don't worry about it. So these are the differences between me and another person run report as. Okay. So I think that's all I have for reports and dashboards. So I think you got the generic idea about what a report is, how many types of report are there, like tabular report, summary report, matrix report, and join reports. Although you don't have the complete understanding of how to create them, but just keep the concepts in mind. Okay. And now you also know how to edit a report, how to apply filter, how to add additional columns into a report, how to eliminate columns from the report, how to change the order of the fields that it is displaying to, how to export the data from a report, right? And but yeah, hold on. Let me also show you about dashboards, okay? So all dashboards. There is no dashboard, but I can create really quickly one dashboard here. So let's say sample account dashboard. And again, here also it is the same structure. You need to decide which folder you want to keep it to, okay? So let me just keep it to private dashboard, or I'll just change it to public. Just under, okay, there is no folder such as public. Let me create it, okay? So the dashboard is ready. Now in the dashboard, you need to create components, okay? So let me just add first component, and this is a report, right? So as I said before, right, that in your dashboard you cannot just create anything, right? Whatever you decide to keep on your dashboard, there should be a report, already a report for that, okay? So for example, this is the report that I've created, right? So let me select this one and click on select, and here I need to decide that what kind of chart I want to put, okay? So it is only giving me this option because it is a normal tabular report, right? It does not have any information apart from accounts. There is no other objects involved, there is no groupings, nothing, right? It's a very spreadsheet like data. Okay, so let me just simply add it here, and then I can save this, and then done. So now you can see this is my dashboard and this is the component that I have. All right. And now let me show you one more thing quickly. So currently when you're creating a tabular report, right, this one is nothing but a tabular report. In a tabular report, you will actually not be able to create any chart. You see this option is disabled, okay? You will only be able to, because what is a chart? Chart will always require two kind of comparison, right? For example, when you create a graph, you need like an X and Y axis, right? Similarly, when you're creating a bar chart, you need more information. When you're creating like even a donut, right, it needs some kind of integration, right? So the moment you start grouping the rows or the columns, right, this option get enabled. Again, don't worry about it. I'll explain you in the next session. All right. So these are the very basic information about what a report looks like, how you can save it, columns, rows, filters, how you can edit it, how you can run it, and then how you can fetch a report on a dashboard. All right. And about the folders, about the sharing, about the subscription. All right. So these are the very basic information about Salesforce reports and dashboards. In the upcoming sessions, we will go one by one. We will understand each and every report type, and we'll also see how to create those reports. All right. And also like we'll also discuss about dashboards and few other additional functionalities that we have in reports, right? Like basically more complex scenarios are the ones that we'll also be covering. All right. So that's it for this session, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.